Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an absolutely insane accomplishment. A 17-0 losers bracket run at the Play Pokémon Regional Championship special event in Utrecht earlier this morning. Now this was accomplished by Inadequence, one of my fellow Play Pokémon casters. Inadequence made it to day 2 on the winner side of the bracket, but unfortunately lost his first matchup of the day, giving him no margin for error. He proceeded to win all 17 of his remaining games to be crowned special event champion. So today we're going to be taking a look at this insane run. For his team, he went outside the box with the team building, running the newly eligible Giratina Origin, Wigglytuff, Vigoroth, Cresselia, Talonflame, and Registeel. Hopping into his first matchup in the losers round 2, going up against Sanjudigo, picking up a very positive lead, Cresselia going up against Whiscash. Whiscash is going to go for the Scald as soon as it gets it, immediate no shield by Inadequence. The Scald is going to connect, it does get the debuff. We're now going to see a safe switch, into the Charjabug, but it's completely hard-walled by the Giratina Origin. And these matchups are done with an open team sheet format, so Inadequence is aware that this Charjabug does not have access to Crunch. The X-Scissors, despite the fact that they are resisted, are beginning to add up. No baits here for Inadequence, the Shadow Ball lands, and that will give Inadequence a perfect farm down. In comes the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, but Alolan Sandslash unable to get the farm down before the Shadow Ball is reached, and Shadow Ball will grab a shield from the Sandslash. But bad news for the Sandslash, it's a Vigoroth in the back, and Inadequence, just with the completely perfect team read, anticipating exactly what Sanjudigo was going to run. Sanjudigo realizes there is absolutely no win con remaining, so just choosing to let the Grass Knot through. Another Grass Knot is going to be able to pick up the knockout onto the Whiscash. And from here, the Sandslash should just about get KO'd with a Future Sight. I don't think it'll quite knock out, but it does so much damage, getting that Sandslash extremely low. And at this point, Sanjudigo will fire off the charge attack, but the writing is definitely on the wall for this match. Cresselia will get farmed down, but one fast attack from the Vigoroth is going to mean a Game 1 win for Inadequence. Moving into game number 2 now, Inadequence leading the Registeel into the Annihilate. He gets the lead call wrong. He's going to need to save switch into Cresselia. But here's the thing, Sanjudigo is running a team very weak to Cresselia. He benched his 3 Cresselia counters. The Night Slash gets some valuable chip damage. We now see a switch into the Mantine. Mantine will immediately be met with a Future Sight. Future Sight is a pretty strong attack. As we can see, that does about half of Mantine's total HP. Ice Beam fired by the Mantine. This is harder hitting than a potential Aerial Ace, but it will not be able to pick up the knockout. Inadequence is going to fire off the Future Sight. The no shield by Sanjudigo because he doesn't need switch advantage. He has 2 very strong answers to that Registeel. He sends in Whiscash. Whiscash will be met with the Grass Knot. We're going to see the shield by Sanjudigo. Sanjudigo wanting to try and go for a farm down. Inadequence not going to let that happen. He aggressively pivots the Giratina, hard reading that there is no Lickitung in the back. If there was a Lickitung, it would have been switched into the Cresselia. Now Sanjudigo is going to switch into Annihilate. The Night Slash is going to grab the shield. And Inadequence can overfarm, go for the Ominous Wind. This should pick up the knockout, and it does. Back in comes the Whiscash, but Whiscash in a very difficult spot. Only 1 shield remaining. The Shadow Ball is thrown. We do see the shield by Sanjudigo. Sanjudigo able to build up to the back-to-back moves. If Inadequence wants, he can shield and then go for a potential... a potential Ominous Wind, but instead he knows he can just save that energy, switch in the Registeel, and use it to absorb this damage. Sanjudigo can't quite make it to the back-to-back Mud Bombs. The Focus Blast is reached, so despite leading Registeel into a team ABA strong to Reggie, Inadequence takes the win. Awaiting him in losers round 3 is a formidable opponent, Maxi, who has top cut at previous European regionals. The lock-ins are set for game number 1, Inadequence gets the lead call right, Vigoroth into Dugong. Maxi safe switches into the Talonflame, and Inadequence doesn't have a great response in the back, so he stays in with the Vigoroth, builds up to the Rock Slide, baits with the Body Slam. Maxi calls the bait! What an unbelievable bait call that flips this matchup on its head, and now it's Inadequence who's actually in a difficult position. Inadequence shields the fly, throwing on perfect timing as he fires off the Body Slam. Maxi more than happy to match shields, as by calling a Body Slam, he now does win the 2 shield. Maxi going for the Flame Charge, and Inadequence is going to let that go. instead choosing to go for energy on his Talonflame. But Maxi makes it to the boosted fly, and Inadequance preserving health on his Talonflame as he will get the farm down, leaving with energy. But that energy is completely useless against the Lantern. Head in hands, Inadequance quickly switches into the Registeel. Registeel is very strong into Maxi's remaining Pokemon, but here's the thing. As long as that Lantern is able to preserve its HP, it's going to be really tough for Talonflame to try and have any use in this game whatsoever. The Zap Cannon is shielded. It does get the attack drop. That's extremely important for Inadequance. Maxi tried to go for the catch, but was in the middle of the spark, so the Focus Blast is going to connect. Thunderbolt is going to land. No shields left for Inadequance, but here's the thing, it's debuffed. It won't KO. Switch Clock coming up for Inadequance. He's farming up the switch. He tries to snipe it with a Flame Charge, but Maxi gets the catch. What an unbelievable play by Maxi. Absolutely reading Inadequance like a book. Inadequance going for the fly. It's boosted. Can he get the farm down? He can! He gets the farm down! He leaves with the boosted fly! And that's gonna do it! Against impossible odds in the endgame, Inadequance able to take that win. Moving into Game 2, leading Vigoroth into Lantern. This is a very neutral lead. Inadequance, considering he has Talonflame in the back, he definitely has to be happy to see the Lantern on the lead. Body Slam, very easy no shield here for Maxi. Maxi will look to overfarm quite a lot and go for the Surf just before that next Body Slam is reached. The Surf bait gets the shield from Inadequance. Inadequance continues to farm, going for the Body Slam. Body Slam will not be enough to knock out. Lantern is a very, very bulky Pokemon. Lantern will go for the Surf, and Inadequance choosing to let this through. He has one switch advantage, but the thing is, he did have to give up a shield to do so, and he's now very, very low. Does Maxi choose to send in the Talonflame? He does! Able to make the Rock Slide. Rock Slide will immediately be shielded up by Maxi. Maxi, oh, he's gonna get 2 Incinerates out of this, so he gets a pretty big energy head start. In comes Giratina Origin. Maxi farming up, going for the fly. We see an immediate no shield by Inadequance. The fly is going to connect. We see a switch into Dugong. Dugong will immediately be met with the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball, no shielded by Maxi. In comes the Talonflame. Talonflame, honestly looking to be in a pretty good position here. This Dugong has taken quite a lot of damage already. The Icy Wind will be no shielded. Inadequance going for 1 Incinerate and the Flame Charge. Going for an Undercharge on the Flame Charge, and it's the perfect Undercharge, giving him extra energy. Back in comes Maxi's Talonflame. He's now going for the fly. The fly will be shielded. Inadequance continuing to farm. We see Maxi going for the Flame Charge. The shield by Inadequance. Can Inadequance make it to the fly? Yes, he can. And that should be game over as the fly is... Oh no! He survives it on 1 HP. He stays in. Maxi anticipated the switch in by the Giratina, and Inadequance takes the 2-0 win. In Losers Round 4, a difficult matchup awaits, going up against Donna, who has previously made top cut at the 2023 European International Championships. Lock-ins are set for game number 1, and Inadequance leading his trusty Cresselia into a Shadow Whiscash, an unbelievably favorable lead for Inadequance. Inadequance has that Giratina in the back. He would love to be able to win switch advantage, as Giratina would do incredibly well going up against that Annihilate for Donna. Donna will fire off this Scald and get the debuff. The Grass Knot will be shielded up by the Shadow Whiscash. Shadow Whiscash continuing to farm, going for the Scald. It's a CMP tie, and the Shadow Whiscash is going to win. But a Shadow Scald is not going to be enough to knock out. No debuff onto the Cresselia, and a difficult choice. Do you go down 2 shields? No. Choosing to let that through. Cresselia continuing to farm, going for the Mud Bomb. Again, winning charge attack priority. From here, Inadequance just choosing to let this go. He could go for an Incinerate farm down, but instead chooses to go for farm on Giratina. Predicting there's no Lickitung in the back. And there's not. In comes the Sand Slash. This Sand Slash is going to take an immense amount of damage from the Shadow Ball. The Shadow Ball gets shielded. Oh no, it's about to be Talonflame time. In comes the Talonflame, and you see the battlers laughing about it there, as this game is just immediately over. 2-shield Talonflame, shaking off the Night Slash like it's nothing. Going to be able to go for the fly. This will easily pick up the knockout onto the Annihilate, and then all that's left is that poor Alolan Sandslash getting absolutely melted by Incinerates. And Inadequance commits the shield, goes for the Flame Charge. Flame Charge, massive overkill onto the Shadow Alolan Sandslash. And Inadequance, behind a devastatingly favorable lead, picks up game 1. Great lead in game number 2, and disaster strikes for the opponent. Save switch in the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, predicting that Inadequence had benched both the Vigoroth and the Talonflame, but the Vigoroth was brought on the team of 3. Inadequence fully farms down the Sandslash, and Vigoroth leaves with a near insurmountable energy advantage. In comes the Pelipper, no baits from Inadequence. He full sends the Rock Slide. The Rock Slide is going to connect, and with the energy advantage, able to make the Body Slam before the Weather Ball is reached, and the opponent has to shield this. So now Inadequence has switch advantage, and he has shield advantage as well. In comes the Giratina. This Hurricane, I love the no shield, letting it go in case it is that Lickitung in the back, which it is. Lickitung will be met with the Cresselia, and Cresselia up a shield should do quite well in this matchup. Building up to the Future Sight, going for the Grass Knot Bait, and the opponent shields the Grass Knot Bait. Oh my goodness. Barring a catch of a Future Sight, I don't see a path forward for the opponent here. Inadequence, keeping that Vigoroth on the team just pays absolutely massive dividends, as farming down that Alolan Sandslash has given a truly, truly massive advantage. Back-to-back Body Slams reached by the Lickitung. The Body Slam will be fired off into the Cresselia. Cresselia continuing to farm. Inadequence, thinking about this endgame could get tricky. Switch clock's up for Donna, farming up, unable to get the catch to switch into the Giratina, and he actually lets Pelipper throw there. If you notice, he stopped tapping. He does not want to give the Lickitung farm, and both battlers are just going to sit here. Neither one wants to give each other farm, and Inadequence says, you know what? I'm actually just going to give you farm. He ends up, oh, this will be close. Does this Body Slam KO? The Body Slam does not. Cresselia, can it knock out with the Future Sight here? This will be close. Future Sight onto the Lickitung, does pick up the knockout, and Inadequence takes the win. Up next, the losers semifinals versus 23 EJB, previous Bochum regional champion and the champion at the 2022 Last Chance qualifiers. Dream lead for Inadequence there, leading the Giratina into Charjabug, but the Gligar save switch by EJ is very difficult for Inadequence to deal with. Inadequence is running a team without a single hard check to Gligar. Gligar goes for the Aerial Ace, that does some very valuable damage onto the Giratina. Giratina returns fire with the Shadow Ball, and EJ gets the shield call correct. EJ going for the Aerial Ace, Inadequence running out of HP on the Giratina. EJ goes for an undercharge, but the move gets shielded regardless. Shadow Ball number 2 fired off by Inadequence. EJ is going to let this go, and the Shadow Ball picks up the knockout. Inadequence looking to pivot into the Vigoroth here, if at all possible. In comes the Dugong. He pivots into the Vigoroth. Vigoroth up energy can do extremely well into the Charjabug. Vigoroth firing off this Rock Slide. The Rock Slide is going to connect, dealing very big damage. EJ able to make it to the back-to-back X Scissors. Inadequence can win CMP here, though, if he throws his Body Slam right away. Inadequence will go for it. EJ recognizing that fact, just goes for the extra Volt Switch. Very nice game awareness there by EJ. EJ looking for the double up and gets the double up. Has to throw there, or Inadequence could have made another move. This X Scissor will be able to pick up the knockout. In comes the Wigglytuff. He does go for the discharge, so he double-checked the typing and made sure to throw the right move. And now it's Wigglytuff versus Dugong, and Dugong does not have any shields left. Going for the Drill Run, maybe anticipating Inadequence to try and call it. Dugong continuing to farm up energy, going for this Disarming Voice. Is this going to be enough to knock out? Wigglytuff, not the highest attack stat ever. It does not knock out, but the aggressive switch into the Giratina snipes the energy, and that's a game 1 win for Inadequence. In game number 2, battlers have locked in, leading Cresselia. EJB keeps the same lead. Tough lead for Inadequence, leading Cresselia into the Charjabug. He safe switches a Wigglytuff. Oh my goodness. But as we take a look at EJB's full team of 6, he has nothing that resists Charm on his team. He sends in the Gligar. Gligar will farm up and go for the Aerial Ace. Inadequence commits the shield. Inadequence will look to go for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind, of course, double super effective damage and comes with that guaranteed attack drop even if shielded. So the Icy Wind is shielded. EJ looking to try and farm down, but he's getting too low. He doesn't want to take any more damage, so he will fire off the Aerial Ace. And now in comes Cresselia. Cresselia will be hit with some energy here as they fire off that debuff dig. A no shield by Inadequence. Inadequence has the Talonflame in the back. Talonflame, not the most comfortable mon dealing with Charjabug either, but if you can get up energy, then things can look pretty good. And there it is. In comes the Talonflame, answered by the Dugong. Dugong behind on energy here. The Flame Charge will be no shielded by EJ. EJ will be able to bring that attack stat back down to 0 with the Icy Wind. EJ throwing 3 Ice Shards in the move, very, very nicely timed. the shield by Inadequance. Inadequance will go for this fly. Fly will pick up the knockout, so EJ is going to commit the shield. Going for the fly does allow for better pacing, as Inadequance, after this Incinerate, is now only going to be 1 off his next fly. The Icy Wind will connect. Switch Clock, not quite yet up. He will be able to make it to the fly. This is going to be a very difficult game to win. Cresselia has so much energy. In comes the Charger Bug, but the Charger Bug has taken damage throughout the match. The Future Sight connects. That gets it low. He makes it to the Grass Knot. This will actually knock out. Inadequance, despite the terrible lead, is flipping the script here. There's no HP left on any of EJ's Mons. He gets Psycho Cut down, and the Dugong will get knocked out by the Grass Knot. That game looked doomed many times over, but Inadequance takes the 2-0 win. Up next, a rematch in the Losers Finals versus Normalheim, who actually sent him to the Losers bracket earlier in the day. And a terrible lead for Inadequance, as he leads that Talonflame into Whiscash. The safe switch into Vigoroth will be answered with the Shadow Golbat. Shadow Golbat fires off the Poison Fang, but the issue here for Golbat is Golbat does lose the zeros straight Body Slam versus the Vigoroth. So Normalheim will shield the first. Vigoroth now going to fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam does very nice damage. Shadow Golbat, thinking about the farm down, decides against it, worried that the Vigoroth might survive on 1 HP and make another move, plays it safe and goes for the Poison Fang. In comes the Talonflame. Talonflame will be met with a Shadow Ball, the no shield by Inadequance. This will do so much damage. The switch into Cresselia, and Cresselia gets the farm down, but in the back, it's Charjabug. Inadequance has been completely countered in this game. Farming up with the Charjabug, firing off the X-Scissor, the no shield by Inadequance, understanding that he can survive 1. Going for the Future Sight, and Normalheim gets the shield call right. The Future Sight does get shielded. This game looking impossible for Inadequance. Inadequance will be now met with the X-Scissor, and that is going to grab a shield. Farming up, going for this Future Sight. The Future Sight will not be enough to knock out. Normalheim will be able to withstand this damage. And this X-Scissor can grab the final shield if Inadequance wants to preserve the Cresselia, but no, he's leaving it all up to Talonflame. In the back, it's the Whiscash, and this is going to be extremely difficult. Inadequance goes for the fly. A second fly will be enough to knock out. Going for the Scald. He's hoping for a debuff here. He crosses his fingers. The debuff does not happen. Inadequance makes it to the fly. It all comes down to this. Can Talonflame survive a Volt Switch? In comes the Charjabug. And Talonflame on 1 HP gets the win as he overcomes triple hard counter. Terrible lead in the next match. Registeel into Whiscash, the safe switch into the Cresselia, and Normalheim is going to respond with Lickitung. This is a very nice ABB style team by Inadequance. The goal of the Cresselia safe switch is to hopefully lure out the Lickitung to then free up the Giratina in the back. Body Slam will be fired off into that Cresselia. Cresselia will be hit with another Body Slam, and we see another no shield by Inadequance. The goal of this is to try and either make a play for switch advantage or potentially grab shields. The Future Sight will connect. Oh, this is looking really unfortunate, as now Inadequance can just shield and make the play for switch. The Body Slam will be shielded. We see an aggressive pivot into the Whiscash, understanding that if Inadequance Psycho Cut down, he would get 2 Grass Knots versus the Whiscash, whereas now he only gets 1. In comes the Giratina. Giratina is going to be met with Mud Bombs galore here from the Whiscash. The Mud Bomb will connect. Giratina does have some pretty decent bulk in the Great League, able to withstand multiple Mud Bombs. Second Mud Bomb will connect. Giratina overfarming massively, just shy of 100 energy, and full sending the Shadow Ball. The Shadow Ball will connect. Whiscash able to make a last second Mud Bomb. Inadequance choosing to let this go, trusting in the Registeel. In the back, it's the Shadow Golbat, and this is looking incredibly good for Inadequance. Inadequance making the right call. You don't want to shield the Poison Fang, letting the Shadow Ball through, and now going for the Zap Cannon. The Zap Cannon will be shielded up by Normalheim. The Zap Cannon does get the debuff, but realistically, Inadequance will be shielding this charge attack anyway, as even at -1, a Shadow Ball does quite a lot of damage. Inadequance commits the shield. He will have to go for the Zap Cannon to get rid of the Golbat. The Whiscash is still alive. It may be able to make it to a Mud Bomb. This will be close. It's very low on HP, though. In comes the Whiscash. Whiscash makes it to the Mud Bomb, but the catch by Inadequance. He says, "Not today, Whiscash." And that is going to give him a 2-0 advantage as he makes it to the Focus Blast versus that Lickitung. And that's going to be a Game 2 win, 1 win away from making it to the Grand Finals. Teams are set for game number 3, leading Giratina into Shadow, Alolan Sandslash, 3 games versus Normalheim, and 3 lost leads. He save switches into the Cresselia. Since this is a Powder Snow Shadow Alolan Sandslash, this matchup is genuinely not a good one for the Sandslash. Cresselia with Future Sight can actually win this, because Powder Snows just really don't do a whole lot of damage compared to super effective Shadow Claws. Farming up, firing off the Drill Run, and Inadequence can actually win the zeros here. This Drill Run does not KO, he makes the Future Sight, even waiting a turn to make sure Normalheim does not get a potential catch, and the Future Sight KOs, winning switch advantage. Whiscash gets energy, he sends in the Giratina, in the back, it's the battle of the Flyers, Golbat versus Talonflame. Golbat, oh my goodness, baits with the Poison Fang. Inadequence immediately no shields. Inadequence trying to farm up, but this is another Poison Fang. He's forced to shield the Talonflame now at -2. Talonflame farming up to 100 energy and going for the Flame Charge. The no shield by Normalheim. He's going to try and win this game with the Whiscash. Whiscash going to go for a 1 shield Mud Shot farm down play and try and leave with enough energy to be able to get rid of the Giratina. And oh, the second fly is just not reached. That's very unfortunate. It's all up to Giratina here. Inadequence has won 10 games in a row. Can he make it 11? This is very close to back-to-back Mud Bombs by Normalheim. Normalheim goes for the Mud Bomb, and Inadequence lets it go. Farming up, he's now going for the Scald. He's hoping for the debuff to stay alive in this tournament. The Scald does not get the debuff, and now Normalheim has to try and call a bait. Inadequence full sends the Shadow Ball. It connects, and Inadequence is in Grand Finals. The stage is set in the Grand Finals, Inadequence versus Pablo Dinas. Pablo running a team consisting of Whiscash, Lickitung, Charjabug, Night Slash Annihilate, Shadow Alolan Sandslash, and Mantine. Pablo comes from the winner side of the bracket. He only needs to win 1 best-of-5 series to become Special Event Champion. For Inadequence, he comes from the loser side of the bracket, which means he will need to win 2 best-of-5 series if he wants to be crowned Special Event Champion. We have the lock-ins. Game number 1, Inadequence versus Pablo Dinas, and Inadequence gets the read right. Vigoroth into Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Whiscash save switch will be answered with the Cresselia, and so far, Inadequence just with the perfect read, anticipating what Pablo is going to bring. Cresselia does get debuffed by that Scald. That, of course, does mean that this Grass Knot will not be enough to knock out. Whiscash able to withstand that damage as Whiscash goes for Scald number 2. Inadequence, again, another no-shield. Scald, while it can hit a lot of things for quite a lot of damage, Cresselia is notoriously bulky. Another Grass Knot, another no-shield. Pablo not looking to make a play for switch. Instead, he's going to go for an incredibly aggressive Shadow Powder Snow farm down with the Alolan Sandslash, looking to exit with energy that can threaten that Vigoroth. Sandslash looking for the farm down, but the Cresselia will not be denied, able to make 1 final debuffed Grass Knot before it gets knocked out. In comes the Vigoroth. Vigoroth will be met with the Drill Run here. This is a no-shield by Inadequence. Inadequence queues up the switch into the Wigglytuff before he even saw Pablo switch. That is amazing prediction by Inadequence, anticipating Pablo would not stay in to try and make it to another Drill Run, so he just blind switches a Wigglytuff into what he has seen so far has been an Alolan Sandslash. But the opponent switches out, so it ends up being an insane prediction. Wigglytuff, after applying that Icy Wind debuff, is now in a very good position versus the Mantine. Mantine now going to go for the Ice Beam, and Inadequence more than happy to let this go. The Ice Beam will not KO. Oh man, the Wigglytuff gets that farm down, and the Shadow Alolan Sandslash is unable to make it 2 back-to-back moves as Inadequence takes game 1. Moving into game number 2, at an amazing lead again, Vigoroth into Lickitung, the save switch into the Whiscash, answered once again by the Cresselia, and it just seems like Inadequence might be completely in Pablo's head at the moment. He's completely predicting what Pablo is going to bring, and as we look in the back, there's a Charjabug in the back, and Inadequence brought the Giratina Origin. Just an absolutely unbelievable prediction by Inadequence, as this should basically just be game over on the spot. He's going to get a full farm down. You can send in the Lickitung, but Lickitung is going to take quite a lot of damage here. Pablo is going to send in the Lickitung. Looking at the team sheet here of Inadequence, trying to figure out what potentially could be in the back. He's hoping it's not the Giratina, but we can see it is going to be the Giratina, and there's just nothing that Charjabug can ever hope to do going up against Giratina. Pablo is going to get the full farm down, and Inadequence sends in the Vigoroth. Vigoroth more than happy to let this through, and now we see it. It is the Charjabug. You can see there the shake of the head from Pablo. He's like, you've got to be kidding me. And Adequins just can go straight for the ominous wind. Has not boosted so far with the Giratina. It definitely would be fun to see, but it honestly does go to show a mastery of the team that he's winning without the boost. Another X-Scissor, another no shield by an Adequins. Giratina Origin completely unfazed here. Giratina, at this point, I think he is just going to counter everything down with the Vigoroth. The outcome of this game has already been determined. Vigoroth, can't quite get that farm down there. Forced to commit the shield, but there's realistically nothing that Lickitung can do. Lickitung will go for the Body Slam. This counter, I believe, should barely not KO. He goes for the Rock Slide. This might be a shield kill, because even a shielded move does 1 HP of damage. Oh, the Lickitung had more than 1 HP, and Charjabug will get countered down. Up 2-0. He gets the lead call right again. Registeel into Mantine. The save switch into the Whiscash answered once again by the Cresselia. Oh my goodness. He adjusted his lead and Adequins still with the perfect prediction. Just unbelievable predictions here in these grand finals. Going for the Grass Knot. The Whiscash did get the debuff, so the Grass Knot not going to do a whole lot of damage. Scald number 2 fired by the Whiscash. Does it get the debuff? It does. This is now a double debuffed Cresselia. Pablo committing a shield, looking to potentially try and make a play for switch advantage here. Farming up energy, able to win CMP, and Adequins is going to commit his first shield, so he is fine with matching shields. This time the Cresselia doesn't look like it did get debuffed. This Grass Knot will be no shielded. Pablo lets it go. Does he potentially go for a farm with the Charjabug? I do like this play, as Pablo needs the Charjabug to try and sweep. This Future Sight doing damage, though. It is heavily debuffed, but he gets energy. But that's a lot, unfortunately, for Pablo. That is a lot of HP that he just lost. In comes the Wigglytuff. It gets the Charm through as the Discharge is thrown. Continuing to farm up, throwing on very nice timing, going for another Discharge. This will not knock out. Adequins, he can very comfortably just let this go. In comes the Mantine. It's met with the Registeel, and this game is completely over. Just 3 for 3 games, and Adequins completely read Pablo strategy like a book. Oh my goodness. And Adequins can just lock on down here. This is over. This is a 3-0 victory for an Adequins, which means the bracket gets reset, and we get to play one more best of 5 series to determine who will be special event champion. The stage is once again set for the bracket reset, a fresh best of 5 series and a good lead for Adequins. The Giratina again manages to dodge that Lickitung of Pablo as it leads into the Whiscash. The Lickitung for Pablo is in the back, but it has nowhere to run. Adequins brought his 2 normal types, the Wigglytuff and that Vigoroth, and this is going to be really difficult for Pablo. Whiscash, Mud Bomb will not KO, and Adequins can make it to the Shadow Ball. Pablo goes for the catch, but the patience by an Adequins. He waits the turn, sees the switch, denies the opportunity to make the catch, and sends in Wigglytuff to shut down the Lickitung. Lickitung with the energy advantage should be able to make it to the back-to-back Body Slams here, Body Slam number 2, before an Adequins can go for the Icy Wind. And now we see the Icy Wind thrown right away. The no shield by Pablo here makes sense. Icy Wind from Wigglytuff, never going to do a lot of damage neutrally. Lickitung trying to make it to the Power Whip. It does slightly more than a Body Slam. And the no shield by an Adequins. Will this be enough to knock out? It does not. The Wigglytuff hangs on with 1 HP. Whiscash gets farmed. In comes the final Pokemon, which is Vigoroth. Building up to the Scald, baiting with the Mud Bomb, and grabbing the shield from an Adequins. An Adequins continuing to farm, going for the Body Slam as soon as the Mud Bomb is reached. But a Body Slam will not KO here. Whiscash able to withstand the damage, make it to the Scald. Do we see the debuff? And Adequins commits the shield. Scald does not get the debuff. And in the back, it is going to be the ever-present Charjabug. He should just be able to go straight Body Slam here and be in a pretty okay spot. And Adequins farms the patience and the CMP sack swap. He catches the move and wins CMP. And with that absolutely dominant play, and Adequins will comfortably take game number 1. What an unbelievable play. He threw 1 counter, waited a turn, and then switched to not only catch, but win charge attack priority. In game number 2, he gets the lead call right again, leading the Talonflame into the Shadow Alolan Sandslash. The one game where I would say, I mean, it was still a favorable lead, leading the Giratina into the Whiscash, but not an overwhelmingly positive lead. He gets the amazing CMP sack switch to guarantee the win. Inadequence is just playing out of his mind this entire tournament. And once again, it's a Cresselia on a save switch Whiscash. Whiscash will be met with the Grass Knot. Pablo is ABA weak to this Talonflame. He has the Annihilate in the bag. He can't afford to shield. He's going to send in this Sandslash. Sandslash looking for a big farm down, but I just don't see a path forward to victory here for Pablo. Unless maybe like a double boost from the Annihilate, but that's still asking a lot. In comes the Talonflame. He is going to fire off this Ice Punch, and the Ice Punch does get shielded up by Inadequence. We now see the switch into the Annihilate, going straight for the Fly, and Fly is going to be shielded up by Pablo. Pablo farming up with the Annihilate. Annihilate will be met with another Fly, and we're going to see another shield by Pablo. Pablo continuing to farm. He's baiting with the Night Slash. Inadequence calls the bait. He lets it go. The Night Slash does not knock out the switch into the Giratina, but there's the boost. Oh no, he's calling it again. This is a boosted Night Slash. Does it KO? It does not. He shrugs off the damage, but now this Night Slash will definitely KO. The question is, does he combo? He tries to combo play, but Inadequence throws it, anticipating the switch. It KOs, and Inadequence is one game away from being the special event champion. We see a rematch of leads in game number 1, leading the Giratina into the Whiscash. We see the Talonflame in the back, and once that Whiscash is out of the way, there is nothing stopping the Talonflame from sweeping. And there's no Lickitung that he's going to be able to catch on this time. He goes for the Shadow Ball. The Shadow Ball does get shielded. He continues to farm and goes for the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, again, no shielded by Inadequence. Inadequence farming up. Oh my goodness, he gets sniped by the Sandslash. Sandslash now going to be met with the Talonflame. Talonflame will commit a shield and look for a full farm down. The Incinerate's just shredding through the Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Pablo still does have some health remaining on this Whiscash, and Whiscash does have a little bit of energy. An aggressive switch into the Vigoroth, saving the Talonflame for later. Vigoroth will be hit with the Scald. Does Scald get the debuff? It does not get the debuff. It's a 50-50 chance, and the odds are not with Pablo in this series. The Body Slam connects, able to make it to the Scald. Saves the Scald for later, though. Hold on. This might open the door for a win con for Pablo. He saves the Scald if he needs it. The Rock Slide does big damage to the Charjabug. This will be very interesting. Vigoroth lets it go, sending in the Talonflame. Talonflame goes for the Flame Charge. Pablo shields. He needs to get the final shield from Inadequence, but Inadequence knows he has the Fly, and he has done it. He has the Fly, winning the CMP tie over the Whiscash, and that concludes it. 17 wins in a row at the Utrecht special event, and Inadequence is the champion. All in all, a staggering display of Pokemon Go PvP played at its highest possible level. Running a Pokemon that has only just been allowed into tournaments, Giratina Origin, going a bit anti-meta with that Wigglytuff pick, as Wigglytuff has seen basically no competitive play prior to this, except for, I believe, Mormon Matt previously did quite well with it in a tournament, but still, it's very unusual in these Show 6 type tournaments, and consistently outplaying, even when he lost leads, being able to fight back, getting the CMP sack swap catch, and in that finals versus Pablo, consistently predicting his lines correctly, winning lead after lead, getting those predictions right, and Inadequence is the Utrecht 2024 Special Event Champion. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy videos like these covering the regionals, please let me know down in the comments. It's a lot longer of a video than I normally make, but I had a lot of fun making it. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.